Hey guys, my name is Francisco Hernandez, and today's video is a quick video on tips on what to do whenever you have too much flash power at your photo shoot. It's very common that I see photographers not have enough power at their photo shoots, especially when shooting in a bright environment like during the day, especially here in South Texas or Arizona. But what do you do when you have too much power in a low light environment? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to go over in today's video. Before I continue, I do want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Adorama, but before I talk about today's sponsor, I want to know if you guys have ever found yourself in this situation where you have too much power at a low light environment, especially if you do any sort of night photo shoots, because I think night photo shoots are very tricky. And also, if you can give this video a like right now, that would be greatly appreciated. Adorama is an industry-leading retailer that has been serving photography, videography, and audio customers for almost 50 years now. Their motto is everyone is a creator, and they do their best to unleash that creator within us all by providing us with the tools and expertise necessary to get the job done. I personally shop at Adorama for both the great deals on products I use and recommend, but also the great customer service on those products as well. If you find yourself interested in any product that I talk about in today's video, check the links that will be in the description area below, and be sure to use those links if you decide to order. The very first tip on this list is going to be adding an ND gel on your lighting that has too much power. Very similar to an ND filter, but instead of adding physical darkness in front of your camera's lens or on your camera's sensor like I do with my ND filters, you're instead adding physical darkness in front of your light. There are ND gel sheets that you can buy for your lighting, but I actually have two that are easier. This is going to be for the MagMod system. This specifically is for the MagMod MagBox system, and this is an 8-stop ND gel. I also have this one right here, which is for the speed lights, which is the same thing as the other one, which is an 8-stop ND gel, but this is for their speed lights, or the Evolve 200, which is also known as the Godox AD200. By adding the physical darkness of these ND gels, you are going to be reducing the output of your flash quite a bit, so I would recommend it if you're like really overexposing your subject with a very powerful flash, especially if the flash does not have a modeling lamp. The second tip on this list is also something that I think is very easy, and that's going to be using TTL. The only reason why I didn't have it as number one on this list is because some people don't use TTL with their lights, so not all photographers will have this feature available. By using TTL, you can actually go up to 3 to 4 stops lower than you can go manually with your flash. When I discovered this a couple years ago, I think in 2017, I was really shocked because I don't think I ever saw anybody talk about this feature specifically in lowering the output of the flash. I actually did make a video dedicated to talking about this one singular feature of TTL because I think not many photographers know about it. This is something I personally wish I knew about sooner, because there have been night photo shoots that I've been doing since 2017 where I had to do other things that I didn't want to do that changed the quality of the light that I was working with in order to reduce the output. But if I had used TTL instead, I could have gotten the same exact look that I wanted, just with a lower output. And there were definitely times where I just had too much power and I got frustrated, and then I just stopped taking the pictures. The third thing that you can do to lower the output of your flash is add more diffusion if possible. Keep in mind, by adding diffusion, you will soften your light, so if you're intentionally going for a harder, edgier look with bare flash, then you might want to do some of the other things that are on this list. But if you don't mind the light getting softer, then adding diffusion will lower the output. Let's say, for example, that you were using a softbox that had one diffusion panel, but you had another one available. Well, by adding a second layer of diffusion, you're going to give your light something to go through, and it's going to lower the output. It's not super common in my work, but there have been times where I did have a double diffuse softbox at a certain position, and I added a scrim in front of it so I can really reduce the output of the light and also soften it a bit. Next up on this list is going to be something that I don't think many photographers talk about in terms of lowering the output of the light, and it's going to be feathering the light. This is something that photographers do to get softer quality of the light, and all feathering means is just lighting your subject indirectly. Right now I actually do have a softbox that's lighting me right here, just off to the side of the camera, and once I start to move this light away from me and light me indirectly, you can see that the output is getting less intense and it is spinning a lot into the background. But I do want to show you guys that this light is still lighting me, but just not as intense as before. So I am going to just turn off the light so you guys can see this is before and this is after. It is primarily getting my camera right side, but it is still lighting me. And here it is back in place, where you can see that the light is more intense once it's lighting me more directly. The fifth and last tip I can give you guys to lower the output of the flash is to move the light further away. The reason why I have this tip at the end of the list is because by moving the light further away, you will be changing the quality of the light as well. In order to get very soft light, which I love incorporating into my own work, you do have to get the subject very close to the light, because the softness is going to be affected by how close the subject is to the lighting. When you start to move the light further and further away, it is going to make the light harsher. So if you're like myself and you love that soft light, then you should definitely go for the other tips that I talked about earlier. I also wanted to add a bonus tip at the end, which is going to be adding an LED inside of your softbox that you're using at your photo shoot. In 2 photo shoots that I did this year, I actually incorporated this tip. In the summer when I was doing a photo shoot with my friend Ray Alvarez in Florida with his wife Kay, it was getting a little bit towards blue hour and the flash was becoming too strong. Ray's friend Kevin did have an LED at that photo shoot because he was shooting video, so I asked him to put it inside the softbox and we were able to light our subject Kay that way. The reason why this is a bonus tip is because you're not lowering the output of your flash, but instead replacing it with that LED. I also incorporated this tip over in Canada at a photo shoot that started at sunset and ended at night. My friends Alan and Ed had some lights that were too strong for that night photo shoot, and instead of lowering the output of the flash, I instead just replaced it with an LED that the subject's mom brought to the photo shoot. Right here is my very portable SMDV Flip 20 softbox that I use whenever I travel, and I tend to use it with this Godox AD100 and also my Godox AD300 Pro. But right now it does have the round magnetic attachment that works specifically with round headed magnetic lights like this 100. So I'm going to attach it to this light and now it's easily attached. But what happens when I'm using this at a night photo shoot and the 100 becomes too powerful? Even though this 100 does have a mounting lamp, it is a little bit weak, but I actually have a backup just in case I ever do a low light environment photo shoot with this softbox and this round head attachment. I'm going to take off the 100 so you guys can see that I can instead use this Godox R1 RGB circular light. This light right here also uses magnets, so it can attach easily to this softbox, and then I can use this LED right here for my photo shoot. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope these tips can help you out in case you ever do any sort of low light environment photo shoots and you need to lower the output of your flash. If you guys are interested in any sort of workshop that I might do, I do have some coming up, so I'll leave a link in the description area below with more information on those workshops. I want to give one last thanks to Adorama for sponsoring this video, because when they sponsor my stuff, it allows me to keep making free content for you guys, so definitely check them out. Take care guys, and I'll see you guys in the very next video.